You know, men insult each other, but they don't mean it. And women compliment each other, but they don't mean it either. Calling the shots with me today, as always, is Timmy. Say hello, Timmy. Timmy Timkins. Hey, baby. How you doing? Yeah? He's a guy. He's a man. Yes. I want to talk about a train in the distance. It sounds like a lost soul. I want to talk about cultural appropriation. And I am of two minds on this. I see both sides of this. Um, First of all, let's take acting and some of the casting choices that have been lately made. Um, on the one hand, I believe as an actor that range is important. You look at actors like John Leguizamo, or he's the only one I can think of right now, but just with incredible range. Uh, Daniel Day-Lewis, who just can play. There's something different in every performance is different. Not like John Wayne or Clark Gable, who kind of pretty much, hey, train, shut the fuck up. Pretty much they played themselves in every movie they were in. And that's fine because people loved that. People wanted that, and that's what they got. But I really admire someone who's got range, who can play all kinds of things. So to me, to tell an actor that you can't play this role because you're not this is stupid. So are we saying straight people can't play gay people, or gay people can't play straight people? Problematic? Okay. The reality is, if a straight guy plays a gay guy in a movie, it comes across as it's not real, right? Like, I didn't see Brokeback Mountain, but I understand they're both straight, but they play gay. Um, if a guy comes out a male actor comes out as gay, he is limiting himself in his future casting, because no one will ever cast him in a romantic comedy or as a leading man again, because every time he kisses the girl, people will be going, yeah, well, we know about him. So, and that's just the harsh reality. That's just how it is. But there was a notable production of Othello that Patrick Stewart did that was a negative casting, where he played Othello, not in blackface, and everybody else was black, which I thought was an interesting approach. Um, I just watched the Dahmer movie on Network, and there were tons of great performances and roles for African Americans, black people, that were great. What I object to is the constant mimicking and stealing of traditionally white stories or white roles by actors of color. Let's talk about color, okay? Um, when I was growing up, the colored only drinking fountain was shocking and awful to see the signs in the Old South, colored only, whites only, colored only. So colored, for me, is still an insult to black people. I do not refer to anyone as people of color because of that. That just doesn't fly with me. But anyway, to get back to the casting of the Little Mermaid, really, does this half black, half white actress look Danish? I don't think she does. If I was a director, I would want to cast as historically accurately as possible. So I'm not going to cast Leonardo DiCaprio in the lead in a Japanese movie or a movie about Shogun Japan. It's stupid. I remember when John Wayne played Genghis Khan, everybody thought that was a pretty poor choice too. Or Charlton Heston playing a Mexican in A Touch of Evil. There's no reason. We have plenty of Mexican American actors and actresses who are going to be fine in these roles, who are awesome in these roles. I love Antonio Banderas in Mask of Zorro, More movies like that should be made. But to constantly have to steal from or mimic white culture, the culture of the slave owner, your former slave masters, you think the best you can do is to mimic the former slave masters, even in religion. That's a whole nother video right there. But there are thousands of years and over 300 different tribes of culture, languages, gods, goddesses in Africa that you have to draw on. And yet, constantly, you're saying, well, how about a black Anne Boleyn? Okay. Is that teaching black people anything about their own history? No. It's just being woke and casting like an asshole, like an idiot. Um, when I saw the trailer for Pinocchio and the blue fairy comes in, who to me, the original in the animated Pinocchio, it always reminded me of Jean Harlow. And I'm real big on fairy. And when this black bald woman comes in, because I guess that's what Italian fairies look like, I was like, okay, I am not seeing this shit. Not even at all. What's going on with Rings of Power, like having black elves and black dwarves, uh, dwarf women with no beard, that's scandalous. Oh my god. So that's why I don't watch Rings of Power. Haven't watched House of the Dragon because of what they're don't they have like a token black Targaryen? Like that makes sense. Just oh yes, he's a black guy with silver hair and violet eyes. We're gonna have to do some CGI work there. Um, in the Hollywood days, in the old golden age of Hollywood westerns, Native Americans were often portrayed by either Italians or Jews, which I thought was kind of funny. Anyway, I'm sick of reboots, sequels, remakes, just prequels. It's just Jesus Christ. There are writers out there. There are up and coming young writers with new stories. We don't have to keep rehashing the same shit over and over. How many goddamn Batmans and Spider-Mans and Supermans do we really need? Do we really need to reboot everything? The age of the remix, I realize pretty much everything there's nothing new under the sun. But there are cultures, like African cultures, that nobody has even talked about. How many African people can name one African god? How many black Americans can name one African god? Do they even know what tribe they came from? The backlash over the Woman King is amazing because apparently, and I have not seen it, uh, the story is about these black Amazons, fighter group that Viola Davis put together, which sounds awesome. Yeah, I'm all in for that. And they attacked the Europeans who are coming there to enslave them. But the truth is, that particular tribe that they're talking about uh, were slavers. They commonly waged war on neighboring tribes specifically to capture prisoners to sell to the Europeans as slaves. And nobody wants to talk about that inconvenient truth at all. Or like the truth that yes, white people have been slaves. Even you don't even have to go all the way back to the Greeks being enslaved by the Romans. So yeah, we've all been slaves. What you do now is what matters.